So let's talk about things. Let's talk about, first of all, what is your reaction to the Democratic bedwetting over President Biden?
It kills me when people, it's like they forget the successes that President Biden has followed through with. I mean, I can sit here and of course I was going ballistic during the first 30 minutes of the interview or the debate. But I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking, the CHIPS Act, the PACT Act. We're talking unemployment below 4% for over 2 years now. We're talking, I mean, just so many things. Insulin at 35, inhalers at 65, capping prescriptions for the elderly at $2,000 a year. The infrastructure, I mean, the Inflation Reduction. I mean, he absolutely deserves a second term. And it amazes me how nobody is really throwing up the red flag with Donald Trump basically telling not one single truth throughout the entire debate. He averaged a lie every 90 seconds throughout that entire debate. And nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody wants to say that, oh, Joe Biden looked like he was beside himself. First off, after the first 30 minutes, he started handling business. And the following day, he come down here to Raleigh, North Carolina, and he was on fire. So, I'm like, look, man, Joe Biden absolutely deserves. And look, I don't like the fact that we've got these people that are that old running for office, but I still think that Joe Biden runs circles around Donald Trump, who absolutely does not know how to tell the truth and should be in prison. Be in prison.
Forget dropping out. The guy should be in jail. That's, the article I wanted to write. The idea. So, Richard, let's talk about the Supreme Court for a second here and the idea of giving a president absolute immunity for a big chunk of things and then immunity for just about everything else, to be blunt here. And look, we're about to celebrate Independence Day. It seems inconsistent with fighting a revolutionary war against the king for this unelected 6 justices to create a king in this country.
Enjoy tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, because it may be the last 4th of July that we ever get to, enjoy. January 6th, as far as they're concerned, will become the next date that will be important. And it absolutely amazes me that we literally are on the verge of losing our democracy and people are acting as if they can't see this. It amazes me. I've spoken to people that look at me and like, I can't believe you're supporting Biden. Biden is doing a phenomenal job, but I can't believe you're supporting Donald Trump, a man who refuses to tell the truth, a man who is absolutely the worst person. He is the worst president that we have ever had. I mean, literally, like he is last. And it amazes me that we've got people that want him back. And why do they want him back? They want him back because he hates the same people that they hate. He hates the LGBTQ community. He hates people that are light brown to dark brown. And it really drives me crazy when I see people that are light brown to dark brown that are sitting here supporting this guy. Make no mistake about it. If that guy has the ability to pack everybody up that isn't lily white, he will. All those people that come here from Cuba that are supporting Donald Trump, let me tell you something. Donald Trump will throw them on the other side of the border to Mexico because he don't care that they're Cuban. The way Donald Trump looks at them is they all look the same to him. And that's a sad situation.
It is. I'm chatting with our friend Richard Ojeda. So look, President Biden has now by law absolute immunity to do a wide swath of things, and he will still follow the law. But if Trump were to get in and order the military to kill his political opponent and say, look, this is the way it's got to be, how would the military have to respond?
Yeah, here's the thing. First and foremost, this is the one thing about the military that I don't think will ever change. And that is that if you are a person serving in our military and you are given an order, if that order is unlawful, immoral, or illegal, you have a duty to absolutely say no. And I believe that, are there some Michael Flynn's out there? Yes, they are. But for every Michael Flynn that's out there, there's 100 solid officers that are general officers that care about this country. And I'm going to tell you, I'm at the point now where I'm like, I really hope that they're paying a lot of attention here. Because let me tell you something, if we're going to have our democracy stolen from us, and automatically be thrown into a dictatorship, something needs to happen. We cannot allow this to happen. And it amazes me because the one thing that Donald Trump did was he tapped into the poorly educated. And I'm telling you right now, this is why I say I'm glad that West Virginia is only 2 electoral college votes. Because make no mistake about it, there are people there that literally believe that Donald Trump is the second coming of Christ. And they only like him because he hates the same people that they hate. And that is sad coming from the United States of America. But it's really sad when you think about it at the level that we are talking here. We're talking about the presidency. This is absolutely scary.
But you said that the military won't follow an illegal order. But what happens now with a president that the Supreme Court says has absolute immunity for his core functions, constitutional functions, including like commander in chief, and says, you know what? I've made a decision that my political opponent is working with ISIS or Al Qaeda, whatever it is, or is working to undermine our nation, and we must use the military drones to get rid of him and his campaign staff. And what would actually happen as a practical matter if the military was given that order? Would somebody say, I'm sorry, we can't follow it, and they keep going down the road until they find someone who can? Or just so we understand, what would happen as a practical matter?
Look, we know what Donald Trump wants. We know what Project 2025 is. What he wants to do is he wants to fire every single person that is in a position of authority that does not basically pledge their undying loyalty to Donald Trump. I'm going to tell you, when you remove 50,000 people and fire them because they don't kiss your backside, they're not just going to go away quietly. And I think that, I like to think that we've got enough people in this country that have enough between their ears. I think that every single day people are waking up. You don't hear people saying, well, I supported Joe Biden, but now I'm supporting Trump. But you've got plenty of people that said, yep, I supported Trump, but you know what? I'm done. I'm done because of all of the stuff that this guy is doing. Donald Trump is not an alpha male. Donald Trump is pure trash. It's the same thing with Steve Bannon. These people, they spew nothing but nonsense, but make no mistake about it. They're only as good as the people that they can convince to do their bidding. And that's what it is. They want people to rise up and do their bidding. And it's up to us to make sure that doesn't happen. It's also up to President Biden to stop playing their games. I don't want to be like, well, guess what? We lost our democracy, but at least we didn't fight back. At least we didn't take off our gloves and show that we're hostile. It's time to be hostile. It's time for Joe Biden to say, okay, if that's what we want to do, let's go ahead and investigate the Supreme Court right now. Because make no mistake about it, taking bribes is illegal, and that should remove them from the courts. And we already know that all of these guys are in the pockets of billionaires. So go ahead and let's oust them right now and replace them. Let Biden replace them now. And that's exactly what should happen. And it bothers me that we're going to sit here and we know they've given us their plan. Project 2025 tells us what they're going to do. And we're going to sit here and allow that to happen? Because why? Because we don't want to look like we're fighting back. No, it's time to fight. And they better start fighting. Joe Biden had better start fighting for this country or he's going to lose it. And if he loses it, we all lose it.
In case you don't know, I'm chatting with Richard Ojeda. Richard, right before you came on, we had a caller, Nelson, said, President Biden's got to take the gloves off. Democrats have to take the gloves off. You just mentioned the idea of the president having the Supreme Court investigated for criminality. And I just want to read a little from the opinion on immunity. And they made it very clear that the president, that the criminal prosecution part of the DOJ is one of the core functions of the president by way of the Constitution, meaning he has absolute immunity. You can't even look into his motives. You can't overcome this immunity. And again, one of the specific things are things that you brought up, that the president could talk to his attorney general and the exclusive decisions made on who gets charged with crimes and who's not. And I think you're onto something, my friend. And I think that President Biden should call for or say the DOJ, Merrick Garland won't do anything. Merrick Garland didn't investigate Donald Trump for 2.5 years.
Get rid of Merrick Garland.
Really, I couldn't agree with you more. I also got angry again, thinking about Merrick Garland, who failed this country. And there's a reason Donald Trump's trial is not happening. If Merrick Garland had charged him within days of leaving office, we would have been in a different place as a nation.
Yeah.
But what about that? What if Biden said, or the DOJ said, we are investigating Clarence Thomas for potential bribes, Samuel Alito for potential bribes, and maybe some of the other ones we don't even know. You got to investigate. Maybe something else is going on. And he has the power to do it, and he has complete immunity for doing that. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And once again, too, let's also state the obvious. Launching a coup on our capital is not an official act. Pressuring a Secretary of State to find you 11,780 votes, and if you don't, you're going to be in trouble, is not an official act. So these are still crimes that I believe Donald Trump should be charged for. Once again, official acts aren't basically practicing skullduggery. It doesn't work like that. You know, we need people to take the gloves off and let's go after these people. We know Jenny Thomas is dirty. We know Clarence Thomas is corrupt. I mean, once again, after they busted him, then what do they find out? They still find out that he's still not listed everything that he's gotten from these people. Remove him immediately from the court. I mean, are we going to sit here and allow these people to take away our democracy? Are we going to allow them to establish a dictatorship in the United States of America? Are we going to allow that to happen because we refuse to fight back? Fight back.
And Richard, I know a lot of people listening agree, because I agree. And I do want to read from the opinion where the Supreme Court talked about a president says the executive branch has exclusive authority and absolute discretion to decide which crimes to investigate and prosecute, including with respect to allegations of election crime. Adding, for that reason, Trump's threatened removal of the acting attorney general implicates conclusive and preclusive presidential authority, which means absolute immunity. So you're absolutely right. President Biden, folks, just so people understand, based on the Supreme Court decision, and I'm not exaggerating, this is not hyperbolic or could this happen? No, in writing, he can go to Merrick Garland and say, I want you to criminally prosecute Clarence Thomas, John Roberts, Amy Coney Barrett, go through the whole list. I want you to investigate them now and file charges. And guess what? That's protected by this Supreme Court. And the minute you charge them, they can't even decide. They have to recuse themselves from anything dealing with that case. So you knock out three of them and boom. And why won't Donald Trump do the same thing if he gets in there the other way around? And he will do it. We know this.
He will do it. How about kicking daggone Merrick Garland to the curb and putting Glenn Kirshner in there?
Yes, Glenn Kirshner. I'm literally applauding you on this.
That's right. So let's try to push that. Let's try to see if we can't make enough noise to put that in his ear to have Joe Biden tell Merrick Garland, that absolute weakling, that he's out, and put Glenn Kirshner in there. You know, we've got some phenomenal people. Glenn Kirshner, Ron Filipkowski, Harry Littman. We've got some phenomenal people out there that absolutely are doing what is right. And it amazes us that we sit here and we watch Merrick Garland do absolutely nothing. What a failure. We were so excited. We were so excited when we heard that Merrick Garland was finally coming in, and he has proven to be nothing but an utter failure. His failure is literally placing our democracy in the crosshairs. And these people, they don't care. They're ready to squeeze the trigger.
Look, Richard, I hear you. I agree 100% with you. People who listen to my show know that I had people criticize me on other shows, on air. Oh, I'm so harsh to Merrick Garland. I only want him to do the right job. And I was counting the days since January 6th going, it's 322 days and Donald Trump's still not charged for his attempted coup. And that's the reality. And Merrick Garland's failure, I put in a prescient way, people will look at my tweets from last year. If Donald Trump is not charged, historians will look back, if they're allowed to, and say Donald Trump's failure to be charged swiftly by Merrick Garland, and it was Merrick Garland's failure to swiftly charge him that led to the end of our democratic republic as we know it. So we can't go back in time. I really like your idea, and I know it sounds really hardball, folks, but it's the truth. President Biden has the power. You know, Clarence Thomas is committed bribery. There is bribery. Samuel Alito took gifts from someone who gave him a nice trip and all that, who had business before the court. They should be charged. And I'm with you. And this is completely within the. That's it. This is life. This is the new world we live in. You got to use every single tool. And if you don't have what it takes to use every tool you were given to protect our democratic republic, then, as Richard said, you have to do the right thing and you have to resign and let someone else do it. That's the reality. These are the stakes.
And wasn't it Neil Gorsuch that had a piece of property for sale for 2 years and nobody ever even tried to buy it? But then the moment that he was basically placed on the Supreme Court, a person that had business in front of the Supreme Court bought his property for him. I mean, it's blatantly obvious. I mean, come on, Democrats.
I go look at that, Gorsuch. That rings a bell. That rings a bell, but I can't remember it in detail. I like
one of them. It was definitely one of them. We also know that Samuel Alito, his wife, does stuff, and people that work with her had stuff on front of the Supreme Court.
Lady.
But they are corrupt. The Supreme Court is compromised. It is corrupt. And we need to deal with that ASAP. I don't care. I'm at the point now where I kind of wish the military would daggone call martial law and get rid of these people. I hate that we have to sit here and we've got to place everything.
All right, slow down there, Michael Flynn. Come on. Literally, look, you can advocate for martial law. That's fine if you want to. It's not violence, but we're not there. Richard, what happens is, let me ask you this. This is hypothetically. Joe Biden lose the election, and then between November and January 20th, when Donald Trump is going to get sworn in, should Biden then use every single means legally necessary, which is everything, to keep Trump out of the White House?
He should be doing that now. Let's not wait until the election. Donald Trump shouldn't even be on the ballot.
I know. He should be in a prison cell.
That's right. So how about Joe Biden using the powers that I guess he's been given by the Supreme Court? How about him using those powers and setting things straight and doing the right thing? Because make no mistake about it, we already know what Donald Trump's going to do. We already know that Donald Trump is going to get rid of thousands of people that are not loyal to him, and he's going to place sycophants in their place. That's what he's going to do. Yep. And then he's going to go after people. His thing of, I'm just going to be a dictator on day one. No, he's not. He's going to be a dictator, period. He's going to go after everybody of color and all of these people that wear those blacks for Trump shirts and Hispanics and Latino for Trump. They don't even realize Donald Trump is going to run all of you all out of this country. He doesn't like you, doesn't care for you. Stop thinking now that he gives a crap, because he's already said, I don't care about you. I just want your vote. And you better wake up, because that's exactly what he's doing. I don't want our military to daggone take over, but I want for our government to finally do something about these people. It amazes me that we sit and we allow people like Jim Jordan to continue to stay in office, Matt Gaetz to continue to stay in office. And the thing about it is the Democrats don't go after none of these people. The Democrats sit back silently and they gripe every once in a while when somebody says something wrong. But they should be going after these people. They should be making a cognizant effort that these people lose their elections. But I'm telling you, I see a lot of people. I see a lot of people doing nothing.
Yeah, I'm chatting with Richard Ojeda, former U.S. Army major, former West Virginia state senator, host of Ojeda Live, Facebook and YouTube show, very popular. You mentioned Jim Jordan. Merrick Garland should have charged Jim Jordan as a co-conspirator. There's no doubt about it. It should have been part of the charges. I went through it from just a legal point of view. He, at the January 6th committee, laid out all the steps he took to an illegal goal. He is a criminal co-conspirator, but that was the problem. So look, I don't, in my heart, I don't see Biden having his DOJ investigate the Supreme Court justice out of fear of how it's going to make someone upset somewhere. What else do you want? I know what you want. We both would like to see that. What else do you want to see Biden do between now and election day? And especially the next few weeks, let's keep it here. The next few weeks to shore up the base, to animate and excite people, to understand that he is a leader, that we're going to battle. It's the final battle for our democracy. And he's the guy that's taking us into this to win. What do you want to see?
What we saw the day after the debate, he was in Raleigh, North Carolina, and he was on fire. First off, he needs to be on television every single day. He needs to be out there promoting the successes. He needs to be out there letting people know that inflation is down. The stock market's doing better than it's ever done. The NASDAQ, all the S&P, all this stuff better than ever. $15.6 million jobs added to the economy, the CHIPS Act, the PAC. He needs to be telling his success stories, because the thing is Joe Biden has been hitting home runs all the time. But if you're not going to let people know about your home runs, then what are you doing? I mean, this is a popularity contest at the end of the day. And you've been doing great work, but unless you let the people know the things that you have accomplished, They don't know anything. Make no mistake about it. Donald Trump tells them that he had the greatest economy in the world, which was a lie. But at least they're hearing somebody talk about how the economy was great. He may be lying, but people are falling for it. Biden needs to be on television every day until the election, and he needs to be telling his success stories.
And that's a big part of it. And that's what you got to do. And we've talked about this. I don't know why that the Biden campaign has not done this before, but look, they got to lean in. They've got to lead. It can't be, it's not about pushing him out of office. That's not going to happen. That's going to be his choice. If he were to make a choice on his own, I don't want to do it. I can't do it, whatever. That's up to him. But so that's, there's no pushing him out. But I really think he's got to take the fight right now. And this is the time to do it, to get people to shore up Democrats who have some concerns deep down. They're like, I'm a little concerned. And then he comes out there like, okay, because you're right. I played a bunch of his clips from North Carolina last Friday. I'm like, folks, listen to him on fire, joking around, everything, doing everything. We need him every day on TV. We need him to do interviews as well. More.
Yeah. The Republicans are literally saying that it's like Weekend at Bernie's. Joe Biden has to prove them wrong. And the only way Joe Biden proves them wrong is by being out there, being seen, going everywhere, meeting with everybody, letting people know that, the fears that they have, that he's going to be okay. We're going to be okay. I mean, at the end of the day, we have a dictatorship that is in the balance. And if you don't want a dictatorship in this country, and oh, by the way, if you don't want the worst person possible to be the leader of that dictatorship, then you've got to vote blue. We got to vote blue down ballot. We got to get Democrats in Secretary of States, in county commission, in governor's positions. We've got to take back the House, but we also have to keep the Senate. And I'm going to tell you right now, West Virginia, Jim Justice, that horrible governor, the guy is pure trash. He's probably going to flip Joe Manchin's seat from blue to red. But we have to make up for that someplace else. We've got to make sure that we keep the Senate. We've got to take back the House and increase our lead in the House. And we got to keep the presidency, because if we can do that, I'm going to tell you, there's going to be a lot of great legislation that's going to come from this. The 118th Congress has been the most do-nothing legislation since the Great Depression. If we elect Democrats across the table and we take these back, we're going to see success stories for all Americans, and that's where we need to be.
Richard, I love you, man. If people want to follow you, want to see more of you, and I know they do when they listen to you on this show here, like, I want to see more of Richard, where can they go to check out your YouTube and Facebook shows?
Go to Ojeda Live on Facebook and YouTube. I go live every night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'll be going live tonight. We'll be talking about some of this stuff as well. So tune in.
Thanks, brother. Great seeing you. Happy 4th of July. This is not going to be our last Independence Day. We're going to win this thing. We're going to continue on to be the republic that we have been for 240 years. Thanks, brother. Have a great night.
I always love being on your show, Dean. Anytime, I'm
Thanks,
there,
brother.
brother. Airborne.